Thank you, Chair. I came in and had the presentation from Senator Asige referencing an apology from the governor. Governor, you forgive me because I was not there for that apology. So I will, and I will take it from the position for that has been advanced by Senator Manzo about the humanity. Governor, you had a chief officer called Lydia Mathia. She's one of the people who has caused a lot of problems for the people of Nairobi and for your administration. Chair, on the day of the evictions in Old Ngara, I got a call from the area MCA, Dion Buchege Maura, and I actually called Lydia, the chief officer for lands. I was begging her literally, Governor, to just give me 2 hours to have conversations with those people and see what we could do, including some of the interventions that are being proposed by Senator Manzo. And she's one of the most intransigent officers I have ever had to interact with from your government. And I say this with great respect, because you know I have interacted with her. The case in Old Ngara, I can hear you saying that the evictions happened before the court order. Governor, you and me know the situation in Woodley, that Woodley, people were being evicted by goons in the face of court orders. The government has been notorious for disobeying those court orders. We have many cases in Woodley where people were, goons were just roaming around, removing people's doors and windows and so on and so forth. I remember the last time you were in the Senate, I think it was 2 weeks ago. And when we left the meeting, I was showing you that there is actually an eviction, another eviction going on in Ngara, and in Woodley, yes. And we were not even aware what the issue was, because I know that we have a phased redevelopment of the estate there. And I think the phase 1, people were evicted. There was a court matter. I know that at the end, after the court decision was in favor of your administration, yes, I appreciate that. But we have had conversations with you in these committees about how we relate with our people. When we were campaigning, and you specifically, you promised a city of dignity. I know that your government gives waivers for big businesses, for rent defaulters, and so on and so forth. It would not be a big dent in your administration's budget if we went case by case. For instance, the case of the Omindos that Senator Onimbo, yes, that Senator Maanzo has referenced. I am sure if we sit down with some of these families, we will understand where they're coming from, and we could do something just as human beings. Secondly, Governor, there is a big issue, and I remember when the residents of Woodley came before the Committee on Lands, we were discussing the question of the confusion that arose as to what exactly are people's arrears. You remember? Because there was this confusion, I think, during the COVID time when the City County of Nairobi issued a waiver, and this question of this waiver has been a source of a lot of grief for families in Nairobi. One of the things, governors, is I remember when we were having the conversation about the development of some of these estates, the question was, because you had said that some of the tenants who give up their units for the redevelopment would be given the units for free, and that the rent that they had been paying all this time would be taken into account. And yes, and the question was, how do you know how much these tenants have paid? Because the records at the county chair are so bad that you can't show me receipts, for instance, from the county side of how much money I have paid in this unit for all this time. And then the question of the waiver, when the waiver was announced, the tenants took it that the county was not going to demand rent from them. So when they are calculating their arrears, some of the tenants claim that that period where there was a waiver is not being taken into account. And I remember one tenant there who you agreed to sit down and do a reconciliation with, Sam Gashago in Woodley. And when you do those reconciliations with people, I mean, these people understand. And they even get to a place where they say, I am ready to sign a payment plan, because everybody knows the state of the economy. And we exist to serve our people. And if people have been paying rent and they fell on some hardship, For instance, during COVID, or somebody lost a parent, or a family member was a breadwinner. These are things that are understandable. So the question of the so-called waiver, Governor, I will be direct with you. Just tell the people of Nairobi, is that thing real, or was it not real? Is it being effected in the calculations of people's arrears or not? And finally, on the question of court orders, the people of Ngara, of course, claim that the court order came before the evictions. You have said that it was after, but in Woodley, Governor, you know for a fact that court orders were ignored in Woodley, even though the county eventually won that case. So please address those two concerns.
Chair, with your kind permission, I've got one.
He's not even finished, Senator Manson.
No, it's okay.
You can't do that.
He can go.
He can't.
Okay.
Have you finished?
Chair, I'm done.
Okay.
Yeah, there's an
You
issue.
always have to speak through the chair. Senator Dan Manson. That's the last time.
Kind permission, Chair.
You stopped him before he even finished.
My
That's not good
apologies,
culture.
Chair, it's okay.
Okay, speak through the chair now.
It's my seat.
No, he's not. Sifuna, abide.
The kind permission, I have a
Proceed.
very important issue which has been raised here, that the accusation, Governor, is that there are people working for you at the county who have particular interest in this houses, and they are keen to evict people so that they put their own people. I don't know how you deal with that conflict of interest by your own officers. If you could also say whether you are aware of it and how you're going to deal with that. Because it convolutes the whole situation, because they are particularly interested and they want to evict so that they can put their own families there.
Thank you, Senator Dan Manson. Let me first give the Governor the issues that. Let me give him. Don't worry. Let me finish with the issues that he has to look at from my end. Then I'll take the next round if there is need to do that, because also of time. First of all, let me finish. I've guided you, Senator Sige. Senator Sige, I've given you a guidance on how we are proceeding. Okay.
Madam Chair. Madam Chair. I think you have improved on your attitude when you are addressing today.
Excuse me, Senator Omutata. I have said I had given the procedure we were following, and I was walking by it.
But you can consult.
And don't talk down the chair. Let's have order now. I'm giving the Governor.
With your kind permission, Chair, then you are likely to get a riot from our side.
I do not intend to have that. Let me give the issues to Governor. Then we take the next round. I had given the guidance. I think members should also abide by what the chair had proposed, because we were moving very well before you interfered. Governor, I want to first thank you for the apology you have given for the behavior that you see your officers went by when they went for the eviction. And that, for me, the apology is very assuring also to the tenants, because two wrongs don't make a right. There may be rent arrears, but there would be no justification for forceful and violent evictions of the tenants. So it's assuring that you have given an apology for that. And following that apology, we would hope that your office would look at the restitution that you would need to do as an office, because the difference between the county and the tenants is that the county is a government. It will be more bound to follow the constitution. It's more bound to work by the human rights standards, so that they are not accused of breaching those standards, the human rights standards. And the other question, Governor, which you might need to look at, I think you may be a good man, a good governor, but you know the context of askari wa kanjo, si unawajua, how they treat people and how they have been accused both in Lavington, accused in the Gara estate. I think, Governor, you might need to also do an overhaul in terms of the approach that they are taking towards the tenants and the public, so that you do not have the issues that they are accused of here, of breaking doors, mishandling vulnerable human or tenants, human beings. I think it's important you look into that. And then I'm asking myself about the children, the minor children, maybe those who are left minor children who are in those houses when evictions are being done, and very vulnerable persons, how are they being treated across the board in your management of the many houses that you have stated to the committee. You also need to ensure that those vulnerable groups are not being mishandled by the officers. And I think the officers who are with you today, the social housing officers, I don't know whether they have a policy on how they handle evictions. And then the final question is, these evictions happened both on 18th June and in the middle of May. So they were before the court order and after the court order. Those are the questions that you need. That's what is stated in the document of Atembe. Now you can proceed to respond to those issues.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, from my record, and I will look at it, the eviction was 14th of May, and the court order was 30th. I'll have to look further to see if those are further eviction.